So operator overloading is the process of giving some meaning to the existing
function.
operators, not function. Existing operators are there, just like plus, minus, multiplication, or any type of operator, logical operator, or any type of operator is there. And suppose you want to define its own meaning with your object. Actually what happened, that plus, minus, or any operator, if you consider any operator, that operator can be only works with the existing data types variable, for example integer variable. So if I want to compare the two variables a and b, that if a and b are both are the integer variable or float variable or the character variable, then we can directly use it, a equal to b. But what happened, suppose if you return one class abc, and second class you have created the two object of that abc. Okay, a1 is the first object, a2 is the second object, and if you want to compare that two objects, a1 equal to 2, so it means that the contents of a1 and the contents of a2, you want to compare it. So actually a traditional equal to operator you cannot operate on the your object that you have designed or you have developed. It will only works on a existing or the that system defined data type. It cannot works on an object. So what we need to do, if you want to operate this operator on your objects, then we need to overload, not override, we need to overload that operator. Okay, so if you want to add the two objects, then what is the mechanism, actually what we need to do inside, what is the meaning of addition of that object, we need to define it. Okay, so plus operator, minus operator, we have taken that example in that video. Space class we have written, and xyz, these are the xyz coordinators of that space point, and we want to get the negative point or opposite point. We want to get the opposite space point. So we have overloaded there unary operator, unary minus operator, minus s1. If I'm doing minus s1, then whatever the content of that s1 xyz, it will get negate, that is whatever the plus xyz plus x will be going to the negative x, y positive y going to the negative y, positive z will be going to the negative z. So we can get the opposite space point there. So it means that if what had to do, we have to define by ourselves. So if giving the new definition, giving the new meaning to the existing operator, that process is called as a operator overloading. Getting? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I will share you once. Okay, now look at this. This is the diagram actually in which actually the binary operator, how to overload binary operator, it gives the example. Just like if I want to overload the operator plus, that is binary plus, right? Binary plus we are not to do. And this operator plus is your class member. It is a class member. If it is a class member, then there should be a one argument present for this operator plus function. If this operator plus is a friend function, then there should be two operands. Okay, or two operands. So two operand came only when your operator plus function is a friend function of your class. But in case of your operator plus function is your class member function, then only one argument you only taking. Now what to do? If there is a complex class is there, now complex class is having the two data. First one is your real data and second one is your imaginary data. Now what to do? What is the meaning of adding the two complex number? First, we know that if there are two complex number, if I want to add the two complex numbers, then how to add? Real number is added with the real, like imaginary is added with the imaginary. Okay, so that the same thing it is given here. So that is, we are creating the object of new object here, which will store the result, addition result, complex temp, and then after that we do the real number. The real number is nothing but is x. Real is added with the real of the second operand. C is the second operand and this x is the first operand. So x plus second object's x, your x is added with the second object x, and that is nothing but you are storing that result into the your temp of x. X is nothing but your real number here. So real plus real is you are storing into the temp of x. Then imaginary plus imaginary you are storing into the temp of y. Consider here x as a real, y as a imaginary here. Now take the example of if I want to perform this operation, then I need to execute the statement like C3 equal to C1 plus C2, where C3, C1, C2, these three are the objects. Three are the object of complex class. C1 is having the x 2.50 and y 3.50. C2 is having the x 1.60 and y 2.70. Now if I want to add C1 plus C2, we need to add 2.50 plus 1.60. Now we can add it like this. This C1 we can get, the C1 is calling the C2 here. How your C1 is calling the C2? You can see here, when you are executing this C1 plus C2, actually it will execute it like that. Your compiler will resolve this operation like C1 dot operator plus, and then the C2 is your argument now. So it means that front end is C1 plus C2, but in a background, when it goes for the compiler, actually the compiler will resolve this expression like C1 dot operator plus C2. It means that you are calling the operator plus function of C1. You are calling the operator plus function. So this operator plus function should be present in your C1. Okay. Now C2 is the object. So complex C. So this is this one. This complex C is nothing but your C2. Complex C is nothing but your C2. Okay. Now here this C1 is calling the operator plus, so that's why you can access that x and y directly by using its names x and y, because it is a member, data member of the C1 itself. But to access the data member of C2, because C2 is having the name now C2 is having the new name as a C, that is C2 is copied into C here. To access the real part of your C, you have to type here C dot x. So C dot x is nothing but your C2 dot x. So it is 1.60. And x is nothing but your C1 dot x, that is 2.50. So 2.50 plus 1.60, it is get stored into the temp of x. Temp of x becomes a 4.10. So 2.50 plus 1.60 become a 4.10. Now next, same happen with your imaginary part. This y can be directly accessed here. Y can be directly accessed. C1 of y is nothing but directly y 3.50, and this C2 dot y you can access like C dot y. So 2.70. So 3.50 plus 2.70, and it is stored into the temp of y. It is 6.20, and it is stored into temp of x and temp of y, and you are returning that temp. When you are returning the temp, this temp will get stored into the C3, because whatever the function call is assigned to C3 here. Whatever the function call assigned to C3. So whatever the result of C1 dot operator plus C2 is get stored into the C3 itself, and the result is your temp object. So the content of temp object get copied into the C3, and C3 becomes 4.10, x and y as a 6.20, and you are getting the correct output here. This is only happen if you are overloaded this plus operator into the complex class. If you are not overloading, then C1 plus C2 you cannot do. You can't directly add the two objects because compiler don't know what is the meaning of your object and how to add that two objects, because these objects are the user defined. The user has defined and compiler don't know what is the behavior of that object. So that's why we need to give its behavior. What do you mean by adding of two complex number? That we need to define into the operator plus function. Getting? So here, if you want to design any class and if you want to perform any object operations by using the existing operators, you need to overload that operator, very compulsory. You can't directly apply the existing operator to the your user defined objects. Getting?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we will see the same example. We'll implement the same example in C++. So I'm going to save this. So it is suppose operator over .cpp. Okay, so start with the hash include stdio.h, not stdio, it is iostream. Yeah, it is iostream, and then using namespace std. Okay, and then int main. So always start with the your basic structure. Then we need to define the class as a complex. So I am defining the complex class. Now what the complex class contains? The complex class contains two variables. Take it as a float variable, float. And first one is your real. The second one is your imaginary. Okay, and just give the its constructor. Now I'm writing here constructor. What is the type of constructor here that I'm writing? It is called as a default constructor. If you are not giving the real and imaginary value, it is by default taken as 0, 0. So imaginary is equal to 0.0. But if you are giving here the parameterized constructor, so int, not int, float, float r, comma, float I. So tell me content. So it is real is equal to r and imaginary is equal to I. Okay, so these are the your constructor we have written. Now the next one is your display function we are writing, display. Okay, so display, and one more thing we need to write here the operator plus overloading. So where I overloading the operator plus. So here's return type is complex. The name of the function is operator plus. It takes one argument as a complex and suppose C. Okay, any other function required, we will add it afterwards. So display function. Okay, so it is a part of your complex. So just give the scope here. And then now how the display function works, it will only display the value of real and imaginary. So cout real. Now how your complex number will generally written in your mathematics, it is written as a 4 plus 5j or 5i. Okay, so I'm writing in this format 4 plus 5j. 4 is your real number and 5 is your imaginary. So it is real plus and then imaginary and j and endl. So this is my display function. So next one is your operator function. So complex colon operator plus, and it takes the one argument as a C here. Now its definition is very simple. We require first one temp object, and after the temp object we'll do here temp dot real is equal to, tell me, real plus c dot real. Okay, so whatever the actually operator, whatever actually that argument is coming, that argument real is added with your object real, and it is get stored into the temp of real. So your real addition done. Next one is your imaginary addition. Imaginary addition can be done using temp dot imaginary is equal to imaginary plus c dot imaginary, and then we done the temp, so just return it, return temp. Okay, so my class definition is completed. Now the next one is create a different object. So first I am creating the object c1. Okay, c1 I am defining as, suppose 2, 4 or 2.45, 4.0, and the c2 is, c2 I'm defining as 3.0, 3.5. Yeah, the real and imaginary using the parameterized constructor. Actually I have constructed the two objects c1 and c2. You can see here I have passed the arguments, so this function will be get called, and whatever we have provided here, that value that is gets assigned to real and imaginary of c1 and c2. So we know that to check the value that is get stored or not, we just print the c1 and c2. Cout c1 is equal to c1 dot display, and cout c2 is equal to c2 dot display. Okay, okay, so we will try only this program. So build system C++, and then I'm running the program. Your output should be 2.5 plus 4.0 4j. Oh yes, 2.5 plus 4j, and then 3 plus 3.5j. So C1 and C2 is successfully stored. Now next one is I need to add it. I need to add it, and I need to store into the third object. So I created the C3 here, and C3 I'm doing here. C3 is equal to C1 plus C2. Okay, and I will check the output first. If I'm checking the output, so it is C3 and it's C3 dot display. So your output should be, I think, 4.5 plus 7.5. 4.5 plus 7.5. This should be the C3. Yeah, 4, 5, not 4, 5.5. 5.5 plus 7.5. So we got the C3 successfully. Okay. So what is the meaning of C1 plus C2 here? The meaning of C1 plus C2 is nothing but you are executing this command. C3 is equal to C1 dot operator plus, and you're passing C2 here. You're passing C2. Now check that its C1 contains operator plus function, and it is taking the C2, or it is taking the object of complex. Just look at here. Yeah, the complex class is having the operator plus function, the same function, and it is taking a object of complex. Yes, it's taking object of complex, and it is returning a object of complex. Yes, it is returning a object of complex. So perfectly valid, your signature is matched. So that's why that then only you can use this C1 plus C2 here. Okay, so in a front end actually we are writing here C3 equal to C1 plus C2, but your compiler will resolve it like C3 equal to C1 dot operator plus C2. Getting? So any operator or binary operator is resolved like this. How you can say that is a binary operator? Because it takes one argument. Unary operator is not taking any argument. Binary operator takes one argument. In case of if the operator plus function is the your member function. This is the first case. It is the first example where we have declared the operator plus function as a member function. This is the member function. Getting? Now in a second example, we will try to implement the same thing, but by using the friend function. Now what is the difference between that? We'll see there. So have you getting this point? Are you getting this point? If suppose,
Yes, sir.
yeah, if suppose if I am done this as a comment, this comment, this one comment, okay. So that operator plus function is not present in your complex. And if I'm trying to do this, is it possible to add it? Is it possible now? If I'm running this program, then there is a error. Okay, there is an error. Okay, sorry. This should be here. Control B. Okay, so there is a one error is generated. So operator plus is not match. It says that could not match basic string type. So what is the meaning of operator plus? Your class is don't know. What is the meaning of operator plus? Your class don't know, because this definition is not present in your class. So it will give the error. But if you have implemented, then it is perfectly fine. You will get output. Getting? So it means that to apply the basic operators to your object, it is necessary to overload the operators that you need to use here. Now I cannot do here -1. If I want to do C1 minus C2, here there is an error. Okay, so there is an error. Operator minus. What is the meaning of operator minus? It don't know. Okay, so if you want to implement that operator minus also, then we need to add the second function as operator minus. And we know that what do you mean? What is the meaning of complex subtraction? Complex number, if you want to subtract the two complex number, real minus real and imaginary minus imaginary. Okay, and just I need to add the signature here and here minus. Now this complex class is overloaded the two operator plus and minus. So it means that you can add the two complex number, you can subtract the two complex number. So here if I'm running this program, then it is perfectly fine and you will get an answer minus 0.5 plus 0.5. Okay, and if I do the addition, then also it is okay. If I do addition, then it is also works. Okay, same thing. Now there is a homework for you. You have to implement the remaining operators. That is this operator, overload, multiplication operator, division operator, and equal to operator. Okay, so this overload, these three operator, this is your assignment. I'm sharing this program with you. The same program you have to rewrite with the three more operator overloading present in it. Operator plus, minus, multiplication, division, as well as the equal to operator. Assignment equal to, it is not assignment, is equal to operator is there. Equal to operator gives the, it will return true or false. Okay, if it returns in case of if both objects are having the same value, real, imaginary, then you can say that both are equal. Okay, so this is the assignment. Now next one is the same thing if I want to do with the friend function. Now this is the one technique. Use your operator plus function as a member function. Now it is a member function, then you can directly access the real and imaginary. But in case of if it is not a member function, just consider this case. So if your operator plus function is not a member function, So it is an outsider function. If it is an outsider function, then generally it takes the two arguments for the binary operation, and how this function get called here. If I'm doing C1 plus C2, and a plus operator plus function is not a member function, I am giving here both one. In case of member function, in case of operator plus is member function, this will be resolved like C3 is equal to C1 dot operator plus and then C2. Okay, and in case of operator plus is outsider function, so it means that it is not a part of your class. If it is outsider function, then this is get resolved as C3 is equal to operator plus and then C1 comma C2. Okay, so in case of your operator plus function is outsider function, it requires the two arguments here. So here you need to give here two arguments, complex A and complex B. Okay, and it returns a C3, that is, it returns a template complex, return value is complex. But here I need to access the private member of A as well as I need to access the private member of B. So I need to change here this code like this: A dot real plus B dot real is equal to temp dot real, and temp dot imaginary is equal to A dot imaginary plus B dot imaginary. Yeah, so the same thing, but here if I do this, then your program give the, if this function is an outside function, and if you are running this program, then it will give error. What is error? Real is a private member of complex. Now it is real because it is operator plus. Now operator plus is not member function. In previous case, operator plus is a member function. That's how we can directly able to access the real. But here in our implementation, second implementation, operator plus function is not a member function, class member function. It is an outside function. If it is outside function, the private member is not able to access. So can you tell me how to access the private member? For the how to give the access? How to give the access?
You should give public, sir.
No, I don't want to give the public. I want to give the private member access to outside function. So how to give? Now there is one way. You can give the private member access to outside function also if you declared that function as
Yes,
a
sir, friend function.
Friend function. Very simple. So just use here complex A comma complex B. Now it means that here now operator plus is not a class function, it is a friend function of this class. It means that operator plus function can access the private member of your class. Real, and you can see here real and the imaginary are the private member, and here you are accessing real and imaginary with the object. So it means that it should be friend function. So just try to run this program. Now it is perfectly fine and you will get a output as a previous one also. Getting? I have not changed a single line of main function, but what I have changed, I have changed the implementation of the operator plus function. I have made that function as a friend function. So this is technique known as the operator overloading using friend function. This is the first implementation. Second implementation we have seen, I am commenting it. So this is second implement, that is a previous implementation that we have done. C, and here it is real, it is imaginary, and here it is C and it is C. So this is the previous, and it is operator overloading using class member function. Now there are two techniques for operator overloading, and you need to remember both. In some cases it might ask that overload the operator using friend function, so you need to use this technique. And if you are writing that operator plus function or operator overloading function into the member, then you have to use this method. Both method is not having so much difference. Only one difference, very major difference, is if your operator plus function taking a single argument, operator plus function is taking a single argument, it is a class member function. If your operator plus function taking a two argument, it is a friend function implementation. Getting? And here again, instead of this implementation, if I'm using this one member, then we need to do this, define this. Yes. Okay, so both implementation we have done using the friend function we have done, and using the member function we have done. Now this is now your turn. Now your assignment, just note down the assignment. Your assignment is in the same class you have to write down. So write a complex class, and overload plus minus multiplication, division and equal to by using, first do the program by using member function implementation. And second one, try the same program but use the friend function, using the friend function implementation. So this is your assignment. Okay, so I have given that assignment on your WhatsApp group. So so your assignment should contain a two program. First program, implement the same thing using member function, and some only changes you will have to do for the second one, friend function. So what is the changes? I already described it. So for member function, only single argument. For friend function implementation, two argument. And how it get called? We again see this. C3 is equal to C1 plus C2. If the operator plus function is a member function, it is called as a C3 is equal to C1 dot operator plus C2. If this plus operator plus function is it is not member function, it is the friend function, outside function, then it is called like this. C3 equal to operator plus, and then C1 and C2 get passed to this function here. Getting?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is related to your operator overloading, binary operator. So have you cleared this point, or can I take some more examples?
Understood, sir.
Yeah, this will be very understood if actually if you try at your end. If you try at your end and if you play with this, actually you think that this program is a very easy one, but if you make a single mistake so that to remove that single mistake, actually you require at least half an hour to remove that mistakes, to find what is my mistake. So I have given that one operator or plus operator. Okay, so that is enough. Actually, I think assignment is enough. Okay, So I think we have done with the operator overloading. So any doubts in that inheritance? Just tell me. I think we have completed the single inheritance. Single inheritance we have completed. One photo I have shared with you. Yes, this one. Okay, so this is the photo that I have shared. That is the visibility of inherited member. Have you understood this? This is a very important table, for your C++ aptitude. 3 to 4 questions you can directly get their answer by only using this table. How you can get? These are the base class visibility. Yes, this one. So yes, this is the base class visibility, and this is the derived class visibility. Okay, so derived class visibility means the base class member available in your derived class. So that is the base class member visibility in your derived class. That is this. Okay, and what type of derivation you are using? Public, private, or protected. Public, private, or protected means, suppose there are XYZ classes there. So you are writing class XYZ, and now you are inheriting the ABC class. So how you are inheriting? You are not directly putting ABC. By default, if you are directly putting ABC, by default it is private derivation. So you must put here public ABC. It means that you are inheriting the ABC, into XYZ as a public. So what happened with the base class member in your public derivation, we will see here. Okay, so in case of class XYZ colon public ABC, if you are doing this, what are the member visibility of your ABC in your XYZ class, we are going to see here. Okay, so if you are in your base class, if some members are declared as private, in your base class some members are declared as a private, then in the derived class, how actually you can access that base class member? So it is given here. So how you can access the private member of your base class in your derived? It is not inherited. Okay, so it means that private member of base class cannot be accessed in derived class. This is the first one. Getting? Private member in public derivation not in. Actually private member is not inherited in any of derivation. You can see here. In any of derivation, actually private is always private to base class only. It is private to base class only. It is not available to derived class. But if base class, in a base class some members are there which is declared as a protected. Okay, in ABC class, suppose there is a variable A and which is declared as a protected int A, and if you are using public derivation, then that protected remains protected. The protected remains protected. So it means that the same visibility you can get in your derived class. Okay, so that visibility get maintained in the public derivation. But in case of public member available in your base class, and if you are using a public derivation, the same public visibility will be maintained in the public derivation. So it means that the object of derived class can able to access only this field, that is a public member of your base class. Actually the object of derived class is not able to access the protected member of your derived class, base class, protected member of your base class. Getting? only this visibility is there, but protected member is available within the class. Within the class it is available, but within the derived class it is available, but outside derived class it is not available. Okay. Next one is if you are using private derivation. If you are using private derivation, the base class private member not access. Okay. Base class protected member become private member of your derived class. It means that the object of derived class cannot access the base class protected member in case of private derivation. It become a private one. Same for the public. So if you are making an object of the derived class and that object of derived class cannot access the public member of your base class in case of your private derivation. So public becomes private. So it means that now this private and the public field of base class, in case of private derivation, you can only access within the derived class only. Within the class definition you can access, but outside class definition of your derived class it is not able to access. So base is privately derivated. But in case of protected derivation, protected becomes protected, but the public also becomes the protected. Public also becomes protected. What is meaning of protected? Meaning of protected is that this protected field cannot be accessed by using the object of derived class. So using object, the both are not available. But if you derive the derived class, that is in case of multi-level inheritance. Okay, this is base class, derived class. Again, you are writing one more derived class of this derived class. Then now this method or this method of the base class is available into the third level of your derivation. So protected member is inherit, but the private member is not inherit. So here also, if you are using private derivation and if you are again derive it, base class is not available to the third level. Base class data member and the function is not available to the third level in case of private derivation. But in case of protected derivation, the member of your base class, protected member, the public member of your base class is made available to the next level of your derivation. That is the difference between the private derivation and protected derivation. Public is as simple, very simple. Protected remains protected, public becomes public. Private is not inherit, very simple. So have you getting this point? Have you getting this table? This table is very, very important regarding to your any C++ aptitude examination if you are appearing. Any C++. This table will give you at least 10 marks. At least 10 marks. If you remember this table, at least you will get 10 marks. Why? Only using of this table only. Okay. So this is a very, very important table. Very important table. So just by first understood, if you understood this well, then no need to remember, and if you are not understood, then just try to remember it. Private derivation, private, protected derivation, protected, public derivation, protected, public. Yeah, it is very easy to remember. So getting this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And one more I have shared with you. Yes, this one. One more image I have shared with you, and that image is that circle image. This one. Now this will give the clear view of your access control of your members. So private is a very inner one. So it means that who can access the private member? It is very clearly given. Who can access the private member? Class function only. Who can access the private member? class function and the friend function and the own member function. So it means that the private member can be accessed by only the member function of the same class, friend function of that class. Got it? So private member is accessible for the by the own member function and the friend function of the classes. Okay. Now, who can access the protected? Protected and public. Protected and public can be accessed by protected field, and the public field is accessed by derive class member function. Yes, because private is not accessible. Private member is not accessible by the derive class. So derive class member function is accessing the base class protected field, base class public field. Okay, and who will access the only public? The user. So it means that if you are creating the object of this class, then the user will only access the public methods. Only public method can be only available to derive, only available to all the user, because user is accessing your object. User is accessing the function by using the objects. So using object, you can only able to access the public method. So this is the outer one, which is having the all visibility, all user can access. Public can be accessed by all user, public can be accessed by derive class, public can be accessed by own member function. Protected cannot access by the all members, all users. Protected fields cannot access by the all users by using the object. Protected can be accessed by using derive class member function. Protected can access by the own member function as well as the friend function of the class. Next one is the private thing. Private can only access by the own member function, own class member function and the friend function and the friend classes. Getting? So its visibility is very less for the private, only within that class and to the friend function. Within the class and the friend function can only able to access the private field. So this diagram is again very important one. Yes, getting this diagram?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
True.
Yes, any doubt in this? I think you all have already gone through it. The third diagram that I have shared with you is again a very important one, and this diagram is this one. Okay, so suppose class B is there. Class B is having the three field: private, protected, public. So class B private is not inherited. Okay, so it is not inherited by X. This is not inherited, not inheritable. But the protected field, now you can see here D1 and D2, these are the two classes that I have written, which is derived from the class B. D1 is derived from the B as a public derivation and D2 is deriving as a private derivation. Now just try to remember the first table that we have seen. In case of public derivation, tell me, protected becomes, in case of public derivation, protected becomes protected. You can see here, protected becomes protected in your derived class. In case of public derivation, public becomes public in your derived class. Getting? So whatever the field of your B class, base class, in a derived class, that public is public, protected is protected. But in case of private derivation, now what it comes? In case of private derivation, protected becomes private, public also becomes private. So if it is become private, then it means that the object of D2 cannot able to access this member of your class B. Member of class B is not accessible using the object of D2. But here the object of D1 can able to access the public method of your base class, because public becomes public. But protected cannot be accessed by using the object of D1. So using object, protected is not available. Using object of D1, public method is available. Getting? Now I am one more time I have derived it to show that derivation. Public D1 X I am created as a public D1 and a protected D2. So public D1 means, it means that X you have made, or Dx you have made by deriving the D1. So whatever the D1, but it is how, what is the type of derivation? The type of derivation is public. So in a public derivation, just try to remember again that table. Private is not inheritable, protected is protected, public is public. So whatever the protected field of the D1 becomes the protected, and whatever the public field of the D1 becomes the public. Okay. Now class, in a class you have again used the protected derivation for the D2. So again try to remember that table. In that table, actually in a protected derivation, that last column, private is not inherited, protected is inherited as protected, public also inherited as protected. So you can see here, protected is inherited as protected in your derived class, public also inherited as public also inherited as a protected in your derived class. Getting this thing? So if
Yes, sir.
if you're taking this path, no function of the class B is available here. If you are taking only considering this path, and if you are considering this path, the public method of the B you can able to access by using the X. Okay, so you can easily make this diagram if you remember that table that I have shown to you firstly. That table is a very, very, very important one. Okay, I have already experienced the power of that table for the different competitive exam for the C++. Very important table. Okay, just mark it or just try to remember that table. Okay, so let's have some doubts clearing session. Tell me any doubts regarding to this OP concept that you have studied. So tell me what are the different concepts we have studied first. First one we have studied as a class. Okay, so how to define a class we have studied. Second one we have studied as a how to create an object. Yes. Third one I think we have seen as a constructor and destructor, how to create constructor, how to create destructor. Types of constructor also we have given. Default constructor, parameterized constructor, and the copy constructor. How to write these three types of constructor we have written. And then destructor also we have taken. Then after that I think we have started with the inheritance. In the inheritance we have seen a single inheritance. First we have seen the types of inheritance. There are the 5 types of inheritance. Just list out. First one is your single inheritance. Second one is the multiple inheritance. Third one is your multi-level inheritance. Fourth one is your hierarchical inheritance. Fifth one is your hybrid inheritance. There are the 5 types of inheritance, and there are the 3 types of derivation. First one is your public derivation. The second is your private derivation, and third is your protected derivation. And how your base class is available into your derived class, we have seen using that particular table. Then after that I think we have seen one more concept as you are in a polymorphism, that is function overloading. We have seen as before this. In a function overloading, the same name we can give for the multiple function in your C++. So we can have a display function having the different implementation, the same display function but the different implementation of display function. Addition function with the different implementation of the addition function. That is your type of the polymorphism. The second type of polymorphism we have given, taken as your operator overloading. So operator overloading is also the type of polymorphism where we are giving the new definition or new meaning to the existing operator. That is known as your operator overloading. Getting? Now there are the two types of operator overloading. You can overload the operator in a two ways. First one is implement that operator function as a class function, that is your class member function. Second one, you can give the operator function as a outside function also, but if you are declaring the operator function as an outside function, then that function you need to declare as a friend function of that class. Then only you can do that operator overloading. Okay, so then I think, and what is remaining in your polymorphism? In polymorphism, one point is remaining.
Function overriding, sir.
Overriding, yes, that is remaining, and we will see that overriding, function overriding in the upcoming lectures. And then function overriding, after function overriding, actually we will move towards the one complicated, you can say that is a complicated topic and very important topic regarding to your interview, that is your virtual functions. Virtual functions. Have you studied these virtual functions in your syllabus? Actually, in syllabus, no syllabus has given this virtual function in their curriculum. In your syllabus, is it there, virtual functions?
No, sir.
Okay, abstract class. Have you heard this word, abstract class? Abstract class, pure abstract class.
No, sir.
Okay, so again, this is very new to you and very important one. So what is the point? Just take the note here. What is the remaining points? First one, tomorrow we're going to see the function overriding. Okay. Second one, virtual functions. Okay. Then using the virtual function, actually we can make the abstract class. So third topic is the abstract class, and the fourth one is your pure abstract class. How to write the pure abstract class. And the last point is your file operation or the file handling in your C++. So these are the 5 points is remaining in your C++. So any other points if you want to cover, then you can tell me. That point I will cover. But according to me, actually these are the important points regarding to the basics of C++. Yes, have you noted that point, Chandramohan?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so just try to remember me if one of the point I have missed now. So just try to remember me that so this point is remaining. Actually, in advanced C++, actually there are again the very much points are there. Just like exception handling is there, and then after that your templates are there. How to create the standard template library. These are all comes in your and data structure using C++, how to access the templates, how to write the templates, but that is all related to the advanced C++. I'm not going to cover in the basic C++. Okay, because this is this you never use in your student life. That point, the advanced C++, you have to use in your when you go into any company. Okay, and any fresher should know up to this only, up to file handling only. Okay, so I think I just any doubts. If you have any doubts, then just ask me. Yes.
Sir, can you teach us even Python, sir? We are interested to learn even Python also.
Yeah, yes, Python. Actually, Python is my core language actually that I'm following. The most of the project in our companies are only in a Python. C++ actually no one is going to use for projects. So I can teach you the Python as well. Python is a very simple language than the C++ actually. C++ is a very, very conceptual language. Very conceptual language. It requires to learn the C++. We require the very much concepts clear, and all the concept, difficult concept, though this concept that you are thinking that these are the difficult concept, all the concept has been removed in the Python. But some new advances also being added in your Python. Actually, I have shared you one link. I'm going to share with in your WhatsApp group also. You need to go there, and then there are the different tests are available. Yeah, the website Geeks for Geeks. Now here the different MCQ questions are available for C++. Go for 1 to 40, all 1 to 40, or if suppose templates and exception you have not studied, so just try from 1 to 30, 1 to 30, that is enough, and try to solve these problems. Okay, so we will get a very, very new points while solving this problem. Just like now static int I. So static int I means here I is a class member function, not member, class I is a class data member, but the type of that is a static. The meaning of static is that it is the shared one. I think I have already tell you that is what meant by static one. Static data is not related to the object, it is related to your class. So only one time the I get created. So 100 classes, 100 objects are there. For this class test, there is only a single I, but 100 J's are there. So J is an object thing, I is a class thing. Okay. So you can see here size of test. If you give the size of test, then the size is 4 only, size of integer. Though you can see here this there are two integers. There are two integers. Two integers means one integer is having 4 bytes. 4 it should be 8 byte. If you are taking size of t, it should be 8 byte. If there is a static keyword is not there. If you are putting static keyword, now this class is only having the J. I is not there. I is the separate one, and that is the shared one. It is not related to the object. Okay, so that's why the output is 4. So just go for this one. All the examples you have to go. If you solve these examples, then you can say that now you are a master in C++. But these are the very, very conceptual. If you rate, if you ask to rate me, sir, which is the most difficult language in C, C++, Java, and Python, C++ is not so much difficult, but the more concept is present in C++. That's why its difficulty level is more if you compare with the C, C++, and Java. So if you go for CDAC actually, so very first module is the C++ and it will goes for 1 month. Java only require 15 days to complete, but for C++ they take 1 month to complete. More practice is required. More theory is very less, but the practice is more required. The more problems you have to solve it. So all the unsolved problems you have to solve it by yourself. Okay. So just go for that, all the MCQ that I have shared with you. So any other doubts? Yes? No? Okay, so Should I stop?